I'm Caroline Hendershot, and this is What's Your Why, an in-depth interview series where you get to know the player underneath the helmet at the New York Jets. On this episode, I sat down with Solomon Thomas, and we spoke about his journey from Australia to Stanford, the loss of his sister, and his expectations for the 2024 season. All right, Solomon, you were born in Chicago, but then you moved to Australia when you were 2 years old. Tell me about that. What was that like growing up in Australia?
I was born in Chicago, was there for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then my dad's job took us to Sydney, Australia, and got to live there for 5-6 years growing up. And, you always don't have the most memories growing up at that age, but I definitely just remember like small glimpses of me and my family at the beach, being in kindergarten there in year one, so it was just like great times with the family. Like, the times I remember, they were very happy, very joyous, sacred times. Like, I was just growing up having fun. Like, it was very inclusive there. People were very happy, just very light, like, kind of feeling that like beach energy. Like, so I love growing up there. I love the food. I love the people. And we used to go back, like after we moved when I was like 7, 8, we went back every 2 years, every 3 years. So it's definitely a place that means a lot to my family and I. And I think it was really great for me and my sister growing up, like opening that perspective, being in a different country. I feel like it really opened up my worldview.
What was it like growing up in a family of 4, an older sister, and then both your parents? What was that dynamic like?
To me, it was really cool. Like, my parents were very involved, always around. My dad worked a lot, but my mom was always home, and they were just always like pouring into me and my sister, making sure that we were like finding ways to learn, finding ways to grow and be curious. It was just like we were teammates, like, and my parents were like the coaches, and so sometimes when we didn't agree with the coaches, we kind of got together, and that made our bond stronger. So, but I love that dynamic. It was really cool having that tight family, and that was like also like moving around a lot. It was like so important having that tight family.
What was that like when you moved back from Australia, back to Texas? What was that transition like? Was it hard at all?
The transition was a little tough, coming back to the States, but it was a great time, and Connecticut was a fun place for my family, and then we moved to Dallas from there.
So when did you discover football?
I discovered football when we moved to Dallas after Connecticut, and we moved to Dallas, and we're around. We moved during the fall, and like right at the beginning of school, and we're driving around our town of Coppell, Texas, one like Friday night, and like no one's there. And like we're what's going on? No one's at the restaurants. Like, there's not many cars in the streets. And then like we drive by the high school and we hear the band going crazy and people cheering, and it's kind of take a little scoop in the by like where the stadium is, and it was like Friday Night Lights. And like the one thing my family and I did before we moved to Texas, we watched the movie Friday Night Lights because we were told you had to. Like, there's no way it's like we're like this. And we come to Texas our first Friday, nobody to be seen, everyone's at the game. We're like, okay, it's real. This is real life. Like, people live it. And so that's when we first like found out what football was. And then people were like, I was a little bigger, getting a little chubby, but still like a big stature. And people were like, are you playing football? I'm like, no, he's not signed up. And I was like, what are you doing? He has to play football. He has to sign up. And not even knowing what the sport is, that's when I started playing, because people were just like, you're big, you have to play football. So, do you have a moment where you kind of realized, I think I could go to college for this sport? Like, I'm pretty good at this. Do you have a moment that stands out to you? I just, coming to high school, like the football coach was like, you're going to be a football player, And I was like, I don't know, like, I want to play college basketball and all this stuff. And then freshman year comes around, and he has me practicing with varsity as a freshman. And in the morning I'm with varsity, and in the afternoon I was the freshman team. And as the year went on, like, college scouts would come in, and they would come in and see our varsity team. But like every now and then, some scouts would stop by and watch a freshman practice, and I don't understand why, but I thought that was kind of normal, because like we had some good players in my high school, and then one of my coaches pulled me aside and said, like, hey, like, they're coming from you and coming for you. And I was like, I'm not even playing varsity yet. They're like, well, they see a lot of potential in you, and they're going to be coming back year after year for you. And I was like, all right, well, I guess like I have a shot to play the next level. So
what schools were offering you, and why did you end up choosing Stanford?
Honestly, like, I was very fortunate. I could have really gone anywhere in the nation, and like had offers from Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, and I ended up choosing Stanford because not only was Stanford like really good at football at the time, I think they went to 5 BCS bowl games in a row, Andrew Luck. They're also like the top 2 school in the nation. And I was like, I can't pass that up. Going here will set me up later in life to have certain connections, to, expand my view, to grow in certain areas. And it just like kind of poured back into like who I was, like because I never wanted to be attached to just to being a sports person or a football player or whatever. So I felt like Stanford was going to help me grow as a human being for the rest of my life, just to understand that, hey, I have growth in other areas to do. I don't just have to pour into one area. I think that's what Stanford kind of did for me, and I know it was the best choice for me, and I love my time there.
So then you decide to declare for the draft, and you are second best ranked defensive end behind Myles Garrett. How did that feel going into the draft?
It was a really hard decision to leave Stanford. Like I wanted to go chase my dream. I wanted to be in the NFL so bad. That was my dream, and that's why I ended up leaving. It was a crazy feeling. It was like, this is my dream. Like, I want this. And like seeing like the ticker and like seeing Miles' name first and then my name second, I was like, wow, this is like real. Like I have a chance to go chase my dream. So it was just motivation to put in more work and more work. And, just a crazy feeling, like surreal, like seeing like, hey, like your work's paying off and you're about to be drafted into the NFL.
So then you're selected number 3 overall by the San Francisco 49ers. What was it like walking across the stage knowing, okay, all of that work that I've put in, finally, my dream has come true?
Walking down the rocky steps, I could still feel my heart beating fast as ever. Seeing the commissioner, waiting for the hug, it was just like through going down those steps, just playing through my mind, like all the work I put in, the late nights, early mornings, the sacrifices of saying no to certain people. It was just playing through my mind of like, I'm really here, and it's time to take this dream to the next level and live it each day. But, it was an amazing feeling for my family and I, for sure.
Knowing how close you and your sister and your whole family are, tell me about Ella, your sister.
Yeah, so Ella, my big sister, just she had my back ever since, I came out of the womb. The moment I was born, she was commanding me around, telling me what to do, singing for me, just always had my back, So she, Ella just had this like radiant energy around her, like, she had this infectious laugh, infectious smile that could light up a room. She made me and those around her feel so present, like, and just feel so validated. Like if you're in the room with Ella, you felt like you're the only person in the room with her. It could be 1,000 people in the room, but like her connection one-on-one was just special. Like you couldn't get enough of her. But ultimately she made me feel like me.
Your face kind of lit up when I asked you about her. Like you can still tell how much she means to you. So how hard was it when you lost her?
Losing Ella is and was the hardest thing that I'll ever have to deal with, I think. Losing that best friend, losing that support system, not having her here anymore, not hearing her voice, not feeling her hug, just like missing that presence is like, it's hard every day, and you get better at handling it, you get better at understanding the emotions around it, but that hole in your heart of missing your big sister or your sibling or your loved one, that will never go away. Like I miss Ella every day. I yearn for her every day, trying to hear her voice, trying to hear her in some way, trying to hear her spirit, her love. But yeah, it's forever the hardest thing that I'll have to go through.
How were you feeling when you first got the news?
That when my dad had told me that Ella had passed, just my whole world just stopped. Like, you fall to the ground crying, just trying to make sense of what's just told to you. Like, Ella's dead. Like, how do I comprehend that? How do I move on? How do I even get back up and, and stop crying? How do I take that next step? It was just like, you hear that ringing like in your ears and like you hear nothing, you feel nothing, you're just numb. And, it just doesn't feel real. And you wake up the next day hoping that, it's all like a bad dream, and you wake up and, Ella's here and, you didn't have that phone call from your dad, but then you have to relive that every day for the longest time of you rejecting it. And then the hardest thing is accepting it and then finding ways to move on and live past that, and finding how to move on with my grief, how to move on with my pain, my sadness, how to live a new life without Ella here, because you have to learn how to live again, because like you had a life with your sister, you had a life with, that full family here, and now that part is gone.
Your mom actually was the one who noticed a change in you and went to general manager John Lynch at the 49ers and contacted him. What was that conversation that followed with him?
It was a cafeteria one morning, my second year in the league, and I think it was like midway through the season, and I had just been, I was myself. I was working hard at work. I would come in every day smiling, whatever, telling people I was good. But on the inside, I was completely like not there, like just numb, just like, ignoring pain, ignoring the feelings, completely in a dark place. And John came up to me and he had told me, hey, Solly, like, hey, we're here for you. If you need anything, like, we got your back. And, you know, I said, John, thank you. And, you know, I just went home that next night and, you know, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was just like, you know, I looked in the mirror and I just like saw the pain in my eyes. I saw the sadness. I had to, you know, had to accept like some of the thoughts that I was thinking and, you know, in the ways that I was. And I was like, you know, I really need help right now. Like, you know, I'm not living healthily. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not accepting my pain. I'm not feeling, you know, the loss of Ella. I'm not feeling myself. And, you know, I went to John the next day after that night and I was like, hey, John, I would love to get help. And from then on, you know, I started going to therapy, learned how to process, you know, the death of Ella, learned how to talk through it. That conversation with John, like really, in my opinion, saved me and saved me from, you know, something that could have happened or, because the thoughts and the place that I was at in that time was not good and it was not safe and it was not healthy.
What do you miss most about Ella?
I mean, I miss everything about her, but mostly I miss the way she made me feel, like, just like completely like whole, like me and her in a room, like just completely like together, like we had our own like language, had our own like world, like my parents would be there, but they would be like, these two are like on their own planet, like we just could talk and, you know, we had our own like hidden jokes that we would say to each other and we just felt like we could be each other together, like no matter how the world looked at us, no matter what people said about us when we were together, like we were peaceful and everything was okay. But I just miss, you know, having that person to go to, like Ella was my person. So like I miss having like just that human being that I could go to in any way and just be like, hey, I'm feeling like this, hey, I'm going through this. But like that sibling feeling, like I will never get that again. And I miss that, you know, I'll miss that for the rest of my life.
So how was the defensive line born?
So the defensive line was born in honor of my sister Ella, but also in honor of everyone who struggles with mental health. Like, you know, anyone who struggles like my sister did, you know, with anxiety, with depression, with PTSD, bipolar disorder, whatever it is, like anyone who struggles like with that pain, and also for any family who has lost a loved one to suicide or who has dealt with loved ones who go through, you know, tragic suicide or mental health illnesses. You know, that's why I was born. But the defensive line is my family's nonprofit. Where our mission is to end the epidemic of youth suicide, especially for young people of color, by transforming the way we communicate and connect over mental health.
So you're continuing to grow your career as you grow this nonprofit. You finish your time with the 49ers, you are on the Raiders for a year, and then you come to the Jets. Mm-hmm. And you're returning for your third year after your career year in sacks last year. What is your role on this defense?
I look at my roles on this defense just to bring the standard. You know, I'm a guy, I work my tail off. You know, I work in one speed. How I do one thing is how I do everything. Like I'm the same in the weight room as I am in the meeting room. I'm the same, like how I run to the ball is how, you know, I rush the passer, like I'm full speed. And, you know, I want to bring that intensity, you know, I want to bring that tenacious, you know, kind of mentality to this team. Like I want to win and I want to win now. Like I understand this game, like it comes fast and it goes fast. And, you know, your careers don't last long, so I understand every year is like my last opportunity to win a Super Bowl or to create a winning culture. And that's what I want to do here. You know, I want to influence the young guys around me. I want to influence all my teammates around me just to go harder, to be on the details, to understand that, hey, you know, failing's okay, but as long as we fail together and get up and keep showing up and have the courage to keep showing up. And, you know, I feel like that's my role in this team, to be that leader, to be that kind of, you know, that kind of mental resiliency kind of dude, but also like, you know, also be that guy on the field who fights and brings the guys along.
Jermaine Johnson one time told me that you're the glue of that room. Do you feel that way?
That's really nice of him to say. It's hard to accept that, but I just show up every day and I'm myself. Like I love my teammates. I just love this job so much. I really do. Like I lost my love for this job in the middle of my career, and I had to find it again. And ever since I found it, every year I come back, I love it more and more. I love being around these guys. I think the locker room is the most special place in the world. You have guys from all over the world who come from different states, different countries, different colleges, and we all have different feelings and different, philosophies on life and different political beliefs. But when the ball is snapped, we put that all aside and we fight for each other. And that's what I think is beautiful about this game. If like the world worked like a football locker room, I feel like the world would be a better place. And I always say that, but I come in every day and try to be the best person I can for my teammates.
There's a lot of returning players this year. What do you feel like is the potential of this team?
I mean, the potential is a Super Bowl, and that's what we want, and that's what it needs to be. You never want to just plan for a building year or a good year or a division title. You want to plan to win it all, and that's our goal, and that's our working every day. We're not coming in, working our tails off, putting everything we have all summer long just to go win 11 games. Like we want to win the whole thing.
What are you most excited about this year?
Turning this program around. I'm excited about getting these fans what they deserve. Like I've been here 2 years, going in my third year, long enough to know that these fans deserve some wins, and they've been through a lot. And I want to change that around because I want to bring some joy and love to the city because I love this city. I think it's the best city in the world, and they've gone through a lot of losses in the past, but this year we're going to change it around, and that's what I want to do. So I'm excited to bring the city some wins, get the city excited about the Jets, and just enjoy every single moment, the good, the bad, and the ugly with my teammates.
Awesome. Thanks, Solly. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.